I'm Professor Griffin, and thank you for joining me for today's battle between the LA Leavanys and the Carolina Tauros heels for the PMDL. The LA Leavanys, headed up by Fev, or Babybabie is his showdown username, will face the Carolina Tauros heels in their first match of the season, captained by ShadowGallade or Dark God Yuna for his showdown username. Going over to the lineups for both teams, the LA Leavanys and Fev have a lineup of Celesteela, Mega Gardevoir, and Dragonite Z for the OU. Their UU lineup, Rotom Heat, Swampert, and Terrakion Z. RU, Shaman Z, Drapion, and Kofagrigus. And for NU, it's Miltank, Mesprit, and Electros Z. They'll be facing the Carolina Tauros heels and ShadowGallade. OU, Mega Lopunny, Hoopa Unbound Z, and Ferrothorn. For UU, it's Togekiss, Tentacruel, and Kyurem Z. RU, Raikou Z, Alolan Marowak, and Araquanid. And for NU, it's Ditto, Sneasel, and Alolan Raichu Z, possibly holding that Alolan Raichunium. So let's switch on over to the battle and see what we actually have going on for today's matchup. Alright, here we can actually see the lineup for both teams. Babybabie and the LA Leavanys bring a lineup of Celesteela, Drapion, Terrakion, Rotom Heat, Gardevoir, and Shaman. Dark God Yuna and the Carolina Tauros heels bring a lineup of Mega Lopunny, Raikou, Hoopa Unbound, Araquanid, Ditto, and Kyurem. Keep in mind that's going to be a Mega Gardevoir for Babybabie and a Mega Lopunny for Dark God Yuna. Let's get into the action and see what actually happens in this battle. So let's see who each team starts off with. It's going to be Kyurem for Dark God Yuna. Babybabie's going to counter with Terrakion. Very good starting lineup so far for Babybabie. He gets the advantage of that lead, and the Sacred Sword super effective against Kyurem, being a fighting type against Kyurem's Ice Dragon type. Kyurem tries to use a substitute, does not work because Kyurem has less than 25% health. Presumably to set up with a Dragon Dance or something like that. Terrakion just finishing the job with another Sacred Sword. Very powerful move there from Terrakion, being a naturally rock fighting type for Terrakion. Gets the stab bonus from Sacred Sword. Araquanid coming out off the feint for Dark God Yuna, and Celesteela for Babybabie is going to be the switch there. Liquidation not doing a whole lot of damage to Celesteela. Celesteela naturally a very bulky Pokemon, so you're going to have trouble damaging it a whole lot. But one of the Pokemon that can do that is Raikou. Being a electric type against Celesteela's steel flying type. That flying type weakness to electricity is going to help Raikou really have a hand in this battle. Celesteela going to protect, predicting a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch from Raikou, but Raikou's instead going to use that Protect turn to Calm Mind. Good job by Dark God Yuna for predicting the Protect, going to Calm Mind to raise the special attack and special defense, and there's the Thunderbolt right off of the turn that Celesteela couldn't use Protect. That's going to be super effective and take down Celesteela. So one big Pokemon out of the way already for Babybabie. And Terrakion going to come right back. There's an Earthquake, super effective on Raikou, but it's not going to get the KO. And Thunderbolt there going to do a decent amount to Terrakion. Neutral amount damage to Terrakion. No resistance, no weakness to electricity. Earthquake going to pick up the KO against Raikou. And that makes it already 5-4 in favor of the LA Leavanys. Ditto going to come in, Imposter, going to transform it into Terrakion. Presumably going to see a Sacred Sword or something of the type. Seeing what, it's also just a good scouting tool to see what other moves Terrakion has. Of course, there's that Sacred Sword, as I predicted, going to come into a Rotom Heat. Going to do a good amount, just under 50%, about 48% there for Terrakion. Rotom Heat going to counter with a Will-O-Wisp, trying to burn that Ditto. Instead gets a burn onto, or doesn't get the burn onto Araquanid there. Water Bubble prevents the burn from going on. Thunderbolt coming out from Rotom Heat, not going to do a whole lot of damage. Araquanid with a naturally bulky special defense. Very high special defense for Araquanid. Electric moves, unless it's Volt Switch or a similar electric type physical move such as Thunder Punch, aren't going to do a whole lot. The Toxic now coming off of Rotom Heat onto Araquanid. That's going to get it to poison. Araquanid going to counter with a Liquidation, and that's going to be super effective, picking up the KO against Rotom Heat. Of course, Rotom Heat part Fire type, which is where that Liquidation then makes it super effective. There's some Toxic sapping Araquanid. Shaman coming out, the Grass type move from Shaman, going to be super effective against Araquanid. Tailwind coming out instead. Oh my, that's going to double the speed of everyone on Babybabie's team. Of course, there's a Toxic, so pressuring already on Shaman. Either KO Araquanid or get the heck out of this battle, and Shaman hits the bench. Going to be Gardevoir coming out, tracing Water Bubble. That's going to do a decent amount there. And there's Leech Life. Oh, Leech Life coming out. There's a move you don't see a whole lot. A bug type move similar to Giga Drain, where the user will recover damage equal to 50%, will recover health equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Mega Gardevoir there, going Mega. Putting in a substitute. Now watch for Mega Gardevoir to try to set up there. And because Leech Life did 32% last turn, expected to break the substitute. It does, because the substitute only has 25% health. Toxic going to come in. He only has one more turn of Toxic left if he leaves Araquanid in. Another substitute coming out. That's going to take Gardevoir's health down to 18% for Mega Gardevoir. Leech Life going to come in, break the substitute yet again. Now Mega Gardevoir's got to do something here. Either it's got to probably use a Psychic type move or a Fairy type move. There it is, Moonblast, the Fairy type. As expected, coming out of Mega Gardevoir, that's going to pick up the KO on Araquanid, leaving Mega Lopunny, Hoopa Unbound, and Ditto left on the bench for Dark God Yuna and the Carolina Tauros heals. Mega Lopunny now coming out, probably going to go Fake Out and pick up the KO. Yes, indeed, there we go. Fake Out, a very popular move from Mega Lopunny because of the speed and the gear. Well, Mega Lopunny has naturally high speed, but Fake Out, the 100% chance to flinch there. So it's a very popular move for Mega Lopunny to have. Shaman coming out there. Last Resort. This is an interesting move. Naturally a base power 140 move, 100% accuracy, but you can only use this move if your Pokemon has used every other move it knows. That proves that this Mega Lopunny only knows two moves, Fake Out and Last Resort. Now, of course, Fake Out can only be used on the first turn this Pokemon comes in, so it can't use Fake Out again or it will fail naturally. Last Resort, though, a very powerful move, and Mega Lopunny, a very powerful Pokemon, base 136 attack, base 136 speed, so it's almost always going to get that Last Resort in first on every turn, and base 136 attack and a base power of 140 attack on Last Resort makes this a very powerful move. It picks up the KO there on Drapion in 2 hits, and with Terrakion only at about 30%, 28% HP, it's going to fall very quickly to Last Resort there, and that means that your winner is the Carolina Tauros heals, ShadowGallade and Dark God Yuna. They're going to move to 1-0 with a +3 differential. LA Leavanys and Babybabie going to fall 0-1 to a -3 differential. Thank you for joining me for this battle for the PMDL. I'm Professor Griffin. Have a great day, everyone.